Budweiser CASCAR Super Series. Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Thomas, along with Ron St. Clair and Mike Goodwin. Welcome to Cayuga Speedway, the Bud 200, Ron. It's all part of the Bud 2-4 weekend. Very, very busy on the track, in the campground, top flight rock acts all year. Is it a top flight show for Steve Robblee? Just when he thinks he's got this place figured out, Ken Schrader, who just went by, arrives from NASCAR.
Well, I tell you, Steve Robblee has a very fast car. He knows his way around Cayuga. There's no question about that. But I'm not so sure that he's the man to beat here today. Kenny Schrader had a much faster time. He's a veteran. What can we say about a NASCAR Winston Cup driver coming to CASCAR? But I really think the driver to watch is possibly Gary Reynolds off the pole here today, and all of the Fords, Jimmy Patrick, Paul Mathers, Jim Lapsevich, Sean McGlynn. The Fords have been really, really working well early in the season.
Andy Farr was dynamic at Delaware. Can he do it here at Cayuga?
Yes, I think so. I just talked to him as he rolled by moments ago. They have a fast car. He feels they can go the distance, and he has the experience in these long races as well. He'll be a factor.
For more on the starting grid, here's Mike Goodwin.
Thanks, Eric. The story down on the starting grid here today is the fact that CASCAR once again has taken the top 10 qualifiers, inverted the starting grid. Now, the benefactor to this inversion is number 95, Gary Reynolds. He qualified farther back in the pack, but gets the pole position. Now, another story down here today is the fact that Kenny Schrader, NASCAR Winston Cup star, flew all night from Charlotte to come up here to race at the event. Ken, it was a long overnight flight. What's the plan of attack for today?
Hurry up, try to get up there, and then just stay there. We'll see. We've got to make pit stops, so little car's running pretty good. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
We'll be back to go green on the Bud CASCAR Super Series event here at Cayuga in just a moment.
This program is brought to you in part by Budweiser Racing. Eats up Bud Race. Ford of Canada, where quality is job one. It's working. STP and Presto. Midas. Trust your car to Midas. And Snap-on Tools, the official tool of CASCAR.
Well, Duke Sawchuk with the fastest qualifying time, 22.130 off the record here. Again, right side tires a little bit harder than we're accustomed to seeing in CASCAR.
Brad Jacques has been getting quicker off the start of the season, like the way he's running here, Ron. Monahan at a great qualifying position for Ken Schrader, and Mark Dilley in 64. His car's getting a little bit better as well, I think.
Second-year CASCAR driver Gary Reynolds grabs the pole as a result of the inversion here today in a Chevrolet.
Sean Dupuis out of Windsor, Ontario, the 92 Super Series Rookie of the Year in his Chevrolet Lumina outside.
Al Turner, I like this man's chances. He's the replacement for Don Millard in the Logo Auto Parts Chevrolet.
Dan Shirtliff out of Huntsville, always quick everywhere he goes, and a brand new sponsorship package to propel him there.
Take the 9 off that. Looks like Dale Earnhardt. Bob Merrifield in the V6 will be top in the Pontiac here in the Bud 200.
Mark Dilley in the Olds Cutlass. Not happy with the way the car performed in Event 1. He likes his chances in Event 2.
And there he is, NASCAR Winston Cup star Kenny Schrader in the 52 Pontiac.
Jack Monahan ran superbly at Delaware Speedway before the engine let go. Watch for him to be very fast here at Cayuga.
There's your front row, a couple of talented rookies from a year ago as we look at the Snap-on Tools balance of the field here for the Bud 200 at Cayuga.
We'll go down to row 6 to find Steve Robblee, who won the event at Delaware Speedway and the defending series champion.
James Maurice way down there. There's your Gates fastest rookie qualifier, Dan Delisle, car number 6, also a V6. Andy Farr with a great run at Delaware a couple of weeks earlier.
Have a look here at rows 11, 12, and 13. Jim Patrick, who won a feature event at Delaware just a couple of days ago as we're running this event, in row 11 in car 15.
And Kerry Mix well down there in row 13. He'll have a long climb to the top, as will Rob Neely. And Bob Hume, the 1989 Rookie of the Year in the Castro Chrysler.
Cars moving slowly through their parade laps here. Dave Bartlett, J.P. Corsall out of Oakville in row 17.
Couple of Chevrolets up front as they look to make it 3 years in a row. The Chevrolet has won the Manufacturers Cup in the CASCAR late model division, and they stand a good chance coming off the front row.
Coming down turn number 4. Pace car drops on the pit row. Don Damaris looks them over. And we're underway with a Bud 200 at Cayuga Speedway, Nels Corners, Ontario, just south of Hamilton.
These cars, Eric, will reach about 120 miles an hour down the back straightaway, revving in the vicinity of 6,900. At almost every race they rev in that vicinity. Look at Dan Shirtleff's car. Take that 9 away, and I tell you, that's a replica of Dale Earnhardt's car.
Well, brand new sponsorship package for the Shirtliff crew out of Huntsville. He ran very, very well last year. Andy Farr, who ran well at Delaware, now starting to move up some markers here, gets beside the 32 of Steve Robblee. Andy Farr was quick at Delaware. There's no reason to think he couldn't be quick here today.
And he's on the outside groove. Two good grooves here at Cayuga Speedway. Both inside and outside will work well for you. And I would suspect that most of these drivers will try to go the distance on a tank of fuel, but it'll be awfully touchy.
We are very early in the event here, but I am impressed with Al Turner out of Barrie. He's been away from the Super Series for, what, 3 years now, Ron? Last ran in 1990. He takes over the Locals Auto Parts Chevy Lumina from Don Malott and doing a great job here to hang up with the leader.
Well, it would be nice to see Don Malott back in the CASCAR division as well. Three-time Florida champion, but he sold his car and was driving this number 16. But Al Turner, the new shoe for this ride now.
Find that competitors like Don Malott, who fell off the pace of it last year, but guys who have done well in this series in the past, will all of a sudden resurface here. Also impressed as well with Fenton, Missouri's Ken Schrader and the Budweiser Big B Drugstores Pontiac. Ron, he was testing out here a few days ago, made some changes on the springs. He broke a rocker stud in the motor, but his times were very impressive.
22.181 is qualifying time for the Bud 200 this afternoon. These cars were well off the record here at Cayuga, and I guess we are looking at those right side tires as the #1 culprit for the slower speeds this time around. But they're still averaging well over 101 miles an hour as we ride on board with Kenny Schrader.
Out the back of his Pontiac, the 43 of Bob Merrifield out of Bell River, Ontario. One of the two, whoa, got into the side of Brad Jakes there. One of the two 6-cylinder powered automobiles. He's doing a great job to stay up with the leaders as well.
Jakes down on the grass there to recover from that incident. Gary Reynolds running right in behind Kenny Schrader. Look at the smooth line. Schrader's just powering through the corners very smoothly.
He's one of the smoothest drivers in NASCAR Winston Cup. Ron, he races over 100 times a year. If he's not racing on a weekend, he'll get on the phone and find a track someplace. He'll run late models, he'll run open wheels, sprint cars, midget cars, anything he can get his hands on.
Al Turner leading the race early. Ken Schrader running second, running third, the V6 of Bob Merrifield, as we get a good look at the Budweiser Big B Drugstore Pontiac of Ken Schrader. And going back with the bullet, the front row, Gary Reynolds, and also the 07 of Sean Dupuis.
Yes, Reynolds has faded here somewhat. But in talking with Al Turner in the pits, he says, hey, I've been away for 3 years. Squirt me with WD-40. I'm rusty as heck. I just want to get out here and blow off the cobwebs. No cobwebs so far. He's up front and running well, too.
No question about that. Al Turner was used to the tight confines of Toronto, and this is a lot of fun for him to get out on these long straightaways and really let that Chevrolet get up and get going for him. Brad Jakes having a run here as well, a good run in 4th position right now in the Walker Dynamax Chevrolet.
Back on board of the Sony Handycam with Fenton, Missouri's Ken Schrader, and that smooth line you talked about. Man, Brad Jakes' car is still really, really loose back there.
Good crowd on hand here this afternoon at Cayuga as well. Of course, there's lots of entertainment during the Bud 200 weekend, and one of my favorite all-time bands, April Wine, will be performing after the race. So
yeah.
Everyone looking forward to that.
Yeah, Kim Mitchell is here. Lee Aaron as well. The Bud May 2-4 weekend, in excess of 20,000 people on property here this weekend, and the grandstands filling up. They're stock car fans as well.
Front 5 running in single file formation as they power through the turn and down the back straightaway once again. Al Turner still leading the race. Ken Schrader, Bob Merrifield, Brad Jakes, and of course Jack Monahan right up there in contention as well. Turner a little bit out of shape that time around.
This is one of the hardest tracks they'll run on to try and get the handling. You see ASA veterans out here, all kinds of people who've run this track hundreds of times before, thrashing to try and get the setup. That's why you're going to see cars get loose. No 4 corners are the same, and you've got to get the car set up to almost drift loosely through turn number 4 right here. You got to get what we call the Seneca shuffle. Wow, and Schrader got out of shape. He tried to tuck his nose down on Turner, and he wound up on the grass.
Turner's been drifting to the top side of the racetrack, Eric, the past couple of laps, and Schrader tried to take advantage of it that time by getting the Pontiac down low, but Turner came back, recovered, and shut the door.
Everybody just hanging back here, I think, Ron, waiting to see if anybody messes up front here. They're sensing a spin or something. Merrifield right in behind Schrader. Now he takes a peek down on the left side of Schrader's number 52 as they drag race to the stripe.
Good battle going on for 6th position behind this group of leaders as well, between, I believe it's Sean Dupuis back there in a good battle for 6th position. Here goes Merrifield now up alongside Ken Schrader. The battle for 2nd place.
Oh, the techies love this. V6 versus V8. And right now, Schrader gets hung out to dry as Brad Jacques in the 35 is going to use the same gap to get by him. And Schrader forced to the outside. That's not where he wants to be.
No, and it looks like he's going to be train railed right to the rear of this single file formation as Jack Monahan moves up and takes the 4th position away.
Schrader's car performing very, very well. Now, as you say, he is back on the end of this little train as they come out of turn number 4. Down across the Budweiser stripe, Al Turner out of Barry. Car 16 still your leader.
22.223 that time around. Just a little bit slower than his qualifying time, but he is carrying a full load of fuel right now. And again, with fuel, some of the drivers have told us that they will pit when they get an opportunity after the halfway point. Others have said they are going to go the distance. The Fords and the Chryslers will not go the distance regardless.
200 laps at Cayuga Speedway. You can go the distance if you have the car with the right weight. And that enters into the calculation. It's been done before, and it can be done again.
Have yet to see Steve Robblee make an emergence here among the top 5 or 6 drivers, as some of the slower vehicles are now getting lapped. J.P. Corso and Carl Malish in the Little Caesars Pizza Chevrolet, regular from the London area, who races at Delaware Speedway on Friday nights.
They're off the pace here this afternoon, and the leaders swing to the middle group here at Cayuga Speedway to get by. Al Turner, the leader in car 16, and the 43 of Bell River, Ontario's Bob Merrifield. That 6-holer running extremely well.
Be interesting to see how some of the 9th and 10th place drivers fare a little bit later on in this race. Remember, we inverted the top 12 CASCAR qualifiers. So Duke Sawchuk, with the fastest qualifying time in this race, continues to work his way through the field. He had a very good qualifying time off the record, but a time of 22.130 at 106 plus miles per hour. And he has a long way, obviously, to catch up to the balance of the field. We should get a look at Duke here. There he is right there in car number 74.
And Ken Schrader running up high near the wall. Whether that car is slowing down or he is slowing it down, he is not as aggressive as he was in the early stanzas of the going here at Cayuga Speedway.
Clearly fallen off the pace. Duke Sawchuk, by the way, this is the 2nd time that he has set fast time here at Cayuga. He did that last year as well with a much quicker time of 21.877 at almost 103 miles an hour.
Coming by the wall camera here, you can see the infamous Cayuga marbling, the bits of rubber and asphalt up near the wall. That does narrow the groove down around the halfway point of a 200-lap race. Oh, it's coming right at us here. So brush those marbles away.
Already we see another car being lapped. This is one of our CASCAR West competitors in car number 81 getting lapped, Kevin Dowler from Edmonton, Alberta.
Trailered a long way, getting his feet wet in the big pond of CASCAR, as they say. The CASCAR West Series doing a nice job to form up and increase their car count numbers, but with the Eastern guys, now they got a problem. Corso goes all the way around, didn't touch anybody. He may have been tapped in the rear by Brad Jacques, Ron.
Brad Jacques found himself boxed in behind some slower traffic and had no option, and came right up in behind the Ford Thunderbird of J.P. Corso, and a little tap job is all it takes, and loops him around for the first caution flag of the Bud 200 here today.
Well, the weather was threatening. They backed the race up 1 hour. The grandstand's filling with the campers coming in here. Brad Jacques, car 35, is on the radio talking with his crew. Let's see if we can't find a space and jump in here.
Good. Let the tires cool down and don't get rammy like that.
Brad Jacques, Eric Thomas, TV Control. Do you read?
Good, Eric.
Bradley, that car is sticking beautifully in the corners. A report on the handling. Is it coming to you, going away? It just, anywhere you want to put it, it just goes there.
I think you just said it. Everywhere I want to put it, it goes. The crew's done an excellent job putting this Dynamax exhaust car together, and we're just trying to live.
Interesting to hear crew chief Tony Novotny Jr. telling Brad not to ram it in there. That's what brought out the caution flag. Let's go pit side with Mike.
Danny Sherliff's crew taking the big advantage of this stop and go here. They're just giving him a quick splash of gas, going to get him out.
Turning a little wedge into the car as well. They're trying to combat that very infamous Cayuga looseness. And we're back with more of the Bud 200 from Cayuga Speedway, and we'll do it in just a moment. Back back at Cayuga Speedway, Nails Corners, Ontario. The Budweiser CASCAR Super Series and the Bud 200. What brought out the yellow? JP Corsall goes all the way around.
On today's Midas Tech File, we're going to take a look at the suspension components used in a CASCAR Super Series car. Now, each team carries a various number of components to each racetrack, especially a track like here at Cayuga. The track is fairly difficult because each corner is different, so they have to carry a number of different components to change during practice to get the car set up right for the race day. They got control arms to use, shock absorbers, tie rod ends, idler arms, everything's spare just in case they need to make that change to get the setup dead on.
Tell you what, Ron Sinclair, those guys can thrash for hours trying to get the setup at this place. We've seen crews change springs 20, 25 times, and they're still having trouble handling.
Take a look now at the Snap-on Tools leaderboard, and Bob Merrifield takes over the lead. Brad Jacques now running second. Jack Monahan third. Al Turner slips to fourth. Duke Sawchuk running fifth. One casualty so far, Gary Reynolds in the Winricks Furniture Chevrolet out with a motor problem, and he sat on the pole, you'll recall.
He started on the point, but he is the first retiree. So this is interesting. The V6 powered Pontiac of Bell River, Ontario's Bob Merrifield, and all those V8s growling down the back of his neck. Pace car is off. We're back under green, and the Bud 200 from Cayuga Speedway is back underway.
And Brad Jacques in the Walker Dynamax Chevrolet moves to the front as he pulls the field off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. The V6 running in second. Monahan is in third. Kevin Dowler in the 81 car is a lapped vehicle sitting in fourth position right now.
First time of the afternoon. We mentioned the V6 power of Bob Merrifield, that it worked to his disadvantage. It was a perfect pole shot off the start for Brad Jacques. He had more low-end torque, and he just simply beat Merrifield at the stripe, Ron.
Brad Jacques running in his 49th career CASCAR start. He leads in that category, tied with Jimmy Patrick, who we've yet to see in this race in the Eastway Ford number 15.
Brad Jacques did a little bobble there. His car's been running loose all day. He was just on the radio with us telling us that it's sticking perfectly, but man, that back end gets a little bit loose, especially in turn number 4 here.
Duke Sawchuk now up in the fourth position. In the 74 car, we saw him there momentarily as we look at the leaders powering down into turn number 1 in single file formation. Jacques, Merrifield, and Jack Monahan. Lots of experience up front here.
Oh, you just got to love Jack Monahan. Let's get back in the pack here a little bit. You see the 64 of Mark Dilley, the 25 of Jim Lapsevich out of Hamilton. This is his home turf. He's charging to the front, and there's Alex Nagy, car number 93.
Speaking of home turf, he of course raced here in the big rigs before. A big difference between a 3,000-pound race car and with a 10,000-pound truck rolling around this 5/8 mile.
10,000 pounds the way they started. They're down around 6 or 7, but you're right, an extreme weight difference. This is the view on the Sony Handycam out of the rear of the 64 of Mark Dilley out of Markham, and that is Jim Lapsevich in the Tim Hortons Ford.
Mark Dilley making his 32nd career start.
Jim Lapsevich out of the Steel City carrying on a fine, proud racing tradition here. His brother, Joe Jr., killed in a traffic accident coming back from a support event in the IndyCar race in Vancouver last August.
Kenny Schrader still running and running strong, but he has fallen well off the pace here. Back into about 8th position right now as we look at this group powering down the back straightaway.
Lapsevich in the 25, Alex Nagy in the 93. And there we see Jim Patrick in car number 15, the Eastway Ford Thunderbird, the guy who just won a feature event a couple of days ago at Delaware Speedway, slowly but surely climbing his way to the top.
There's Patrick right there in the Ford. Couple of Fords following Alex Nagy here. Jim Lapsevich, Jimmy Patrick, and quite a distance then between them and the next car.
Starting to space themselves out here. Down close to the halfway point of this event.
Patrick finding the inside groove, and not enough momentum off the banking though to get a pass in there. Andy Farr, Mark Dilley, and now we see Schrader going back another couple of cars here.
Yeah, that car definitely not as aggressive as it was in the early going, as we said, and I think he's just soldiering it around here. There's some mechanical problems with car number 52, and Ken Schrader is going backwards, and Patrick just dropped it off the little road selling, and wow, Mark Dilley really got wobbly at the stripe there.
Also out of the race right now, JP Corsall after that spin, and some mechanical problems. That 90 car unable to get back into contention here as we watch Mark Dilley and Andy Farr duke it out for a position. Alex Nagy right there as well on the inside groove. Andy Farr looks like he may have missed the setup just a wee bit here this afternoon after such a fabulous run at Delaware.
Oh, yeah, he ran really, really well. Was not competitive the last couple of seasons. But he says, I've done some chassis adjustments. I've got a little more power. And he's back to his original colors, too. And he's a little bit off the pace here, not running as well as he did at Delaware, but he's still hanging up pretty close here.
These cars well back of the leaders right now, as Brad Jacques in the Walker Dynamax Chevrolet continues to lead the field down the back straightaway, and about to put a lap on our Gates rookie fastest qualifier here, Dan Delisle in the V6 number 6. Jacques, Merrifield, Monahan, and Duke Sawchuk in car number 74 running in 4th position.
Yeah, the Duker has been banging on the door here. He has not been that far away out of the edges of our picture here, but he's now climbing up inside the top 10. But this Brad Jacques, Walker Dynamax Chevy Lumina, doing a great job. The two V6 automobiles pass each other here.
Brad Jacques, incidentally, the 4th race leader. Gary Reynolds, Al Turner, and Bob Merrifield. Whoa, Merrifield just about tags the wall
Oh,
here.
don't do that again. That just about gave us a heart attack. Bob Merrifield extremely loose. Now look at this pistol shoot here. Jack Monahan on the outside in the 03, and here comes Duke Sawchuk, 4th in series points last year in car 74.
This is a battle for position. 3rd place up for grabs here as they follow along behind the lap number 6. Looks like Monahan still holding on to the preferred groove right now, and he's going to try to use that lap car to his advantage, but Duke Sawchuk hanging right in there.
This track is just to the liking. A lot of smoke up in the corner here. Nobody has spun. Is it just engine oil or something, Ron?
Kenny Schrader, Eric, about to go a lap down here.
Yeah. I don't know if that was his car smoking or not. We had a lot of smoke wafting through turn number 4. Don't see anybody on the side or anybody retiring to the pits.
Oh, that car is really, really off the pace as Ken Schrader goes down a lap, and John Gaunt in the Chrysler also going down a lap. And I'll tell you what, he's a regular top 10 performer in the CASCAR Super Series. A big surprise to see him go a lap down.
And don't forget, John Gaunt was a top 3 finisher at Cayuga last year on our series on TSN, but he is off the pace here this afternoon.
Andy Farr also in jeopardy of going a lap down in the 04 car. So Brad Jacques is really hustling around here. We'll get a watch on his elapsed time as he is the STP halfway leader. And down to the stripe, a 22.193, a little bit quicker than earlier in the race.
Some of these guys are finding the line here, but as you know, at Cayuga Speedway, as we get down to this portion of the race, the track, Ron, it's a little slipperier, a little slicker, and it makes it a big looseness problem when those tires start to grind away a bit.
35 Brad Jacques leading the race. 43 Bob Merrifield running in 2nd. And we believe Jack Monahan a distant 3rd right now in the 03. We haven't had a shot of him here in just a moment or two.
Well, he's backpedaled a bit here, Ron. We're watching Brad Jacques, and Bob Merrifield's 43 got really, really squirrely in the corners again. We're going to keep our eye on it. Brad Jacques pulling up on the 39 of Dan Shurtleff, and here's Bob Merrifield in the 43. His car running extremely loose right now.
Ron Kelly in car number 7 from Barrie about to go a lap down, and Mark Dilley sitting in front of them as well. So some real good contenders. Off the pace decidedly here this afternoon as Ron Kelly goes a lap down in that number 7 car. Mark Dilley next in line.
Talking to Dan Shurtleff in car number 39, just in behind the Brad Jacques number 35 there. He says it's a brand new car. Everything is brand new. The body sits different on the frame than he's used to in the older car. But he says, I'm just going to get out here and run around and see what happens. With brand new automobiles, you got to do it.
Hard to believe as Brad Jacques just went by the GM Goodrich Chevrolet of Dan Shurtleff, and now the Game Genie Aladdin Oldsmobile about to go a lap down as well.
Brad Jacques, we've been talking about him the last event or so, Ron, and it's about time he burst from the middle part of the pack and got a little more aggressive. You obviously have to have the car to do that. And today it looks like Brad Jacques out of Mount Bridges has that car underneath him.
Well, I mentioned on our last show on TSN that Brad Jacques was perhaps the most underrated CASCAR driver, and today he's getting the job done. I'm sure he's opening a lot of eyes, but he's had a lot of help, and I think the biggest addition to the team of late was that of Tony Novotny Jr. coming on as crew chief, and as you heard a little bit earlier, not only helping him set up the car, but giving him some advice as well.
View on the onboard Sony Handycam. On Mark Dilley's number 64, Bob Merrifield's going to try it the hard way on the outside. That 6-holer is really pulling nice, but the car is loose. He that in mind.
Well, the V6s are a little bit lighter, too. So they can weave in and out of traffic a little bit easier. A little harder on the tires. There's our third place driver, Jack Monahan, well back, and Al Turner running in fourth in the number 16 car.
Turner was doing so well off the opening few pages of this event, but he has dropped back after that shuffle with the yellow.
Bob Merrifield spent 4 years refining this V6 motor program, and now that it's finally together, he's been working on the setup of the race car, and it's paying big dividends, at least here today. I believe that was the 08 Sean McGlynn off the pace on the back straightaway. And also Carl Mellish going another lap down here in the 4 car.
Keep mentioning that this is definitely a handling kind of a speedway, not necessarily horsepower, but if you're down on power, it can really be a painful afternoon out here.
I want to make a correction. Jack Monahan in the 03 is running in fourth. Duke Sawchuk in the 74 was up in traffic there as the third place car. So it's Brad Jacques, Bob Merrifield, Duke Sawchuk, and Jack Monahan, Al Turner running fifth.
See Brad Jacques here getting in behind the 27 of Junior Reagan out of Angus, Ontario, and he is in danger of going another circuit down here.
Junior Reagan, one of the fast qualifiers a year ago for the Bud 200 at Cayuga, and obviously a top contender in the rookie category last year. But as a sophomore driver is about to go a lap down, there's a rookie driver in the 47, Sean Mangian, with a load of experience from Windsor.
Well, this is indeed a shame. Those mechanical problems we thought Ken Schrader was experiencing, Ron. He has now parked the Bud Big B Drugstore's Pontiac in behind the wall.
That is a shame after a fourth place showing at the Winston at Charlotte last night. Flying in here for the Bud 200 today as we ride on board with Alex Nagy. Hopefully we'll get a chance to go down trackside momentarily and check in with Ken Schrader.
Yeah, Mike Goodwin is headed over there and we'll get an interview with him.
There's Duke Sawchuk running third right now in the 74 car, the Pontiac.
Yes, we're down in the Schrader pit right now. Mechanical problems has parked NASCAR star Ken Schrader, and here's Mike Goodwin.
It was a short afternoon for Kenny Schrader. Kenny, what happened out there?
Well, we made about 80 laps, I guess. The oil temperature started running real hot, and it got that smell that they give right before they're starting to let go, so we parked it.
Tough break after a long haul, but I'm sure we're going to see Kenny back here up at Cayuga.
Jim Lapsevich also out of the race. You saw his car parked in the background. And here's our STP update. Brad Jacques leading. Duke Sawchuk running in third. Monahan fourth. Robblee has moved up into fifth position now. One of the top Fords, Paul Mathers. James Maurice, who had a good run here last year, running ninth. Junior Reagan 11th. Alex Nagy 12th.
Real shame with Ken Schrader having to retire. Become a good friend of the drivers and the management around Cayuga Speedway. He's just signed a new 3-year deal to renew his contract with Hendrick Motorsports and Winston Cup, so no doubt we'll see him up here again.
Sean McGlynn was a little bit off the pace last time we saw him. Jesse Kennedy's still in the race, but running in 26th position right now. We started 34 cars, and Jim Patrick out of shape here on the front straightaway. Bringing out our second caution flag of the afternoon, and it looks like oil.
Let's do it again. Oh, man, and the 77 car of Wayne Dunn just missed him by inches, whether he's got a blown engine or something leaking on the rear wheels. He went around twice perfectly.
Well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Jim Patrick maybe broke something underneath that car as he spun off the front straightaway.
Fluid here.
Yeah, there's no question about it. He punctured something, and this is going to cost him. Well, let's go down and check in with the leader, Brad Jacques.
Brad Jacques, Eric Thomas, TV control. You read?
Could you hang on for a minute, please? And Tony, could you get with a pit official and see if we're going to restart with the fast cars on the outside, or we're going to double up? Find out quick.
Well, there is a new rule this year. After the halfway point, the lead lap cars start on the outside groove here.
Brad, if that car's going away, I can't see it from here. How's it handling?
Handling like it was the first lap out there. It's tipping wherever I want to go. It's just a dream.
What do you attribute to that? Did you guys try something secretive in the practice or whatever? But I mean, usually cars start to grind away their handling by this point of the race halfway, but it's not going away at all.
It's good hard work by the crew, I think, Eric. That's all it is.
Well, I'm sure it's those harder race-side tires helping out a little bit as well. Slower, but going the distance.
It's a parade on pit row, and we're back for more of the Bud 200 from Cayuga in just a moment. Eric Thomas, Ron Sinclair, Mike Goodwin from Cayuga Speedway, Nels Corners, Ontario, and the Bud 200, one of the front runners, Brad Jacques, on pit row.
Looks like they're going to take on some fuel. Let's check the right side tires, and no, sir. Fuel only. They feel they can go the distance on the right side tires.
They're checking them closely, though.
And crew chief Tony Novotny Jr. given the go-ahead right there. And Brad Jacques will come out and join the field. With Bob Merrifield leading, Duke Sawchuk now running in second on lap 103.
The Personality Profile, brought to you by STP. Engine treatment with XEP2.
In stock car racing jargon, you hear the term late model quite a lot. Well, in reality, late model is an all-encompassing phrase, as even current North American production models run as race cars are referred to as late models. The CASCAR Budweiser Super Series is one of the top flight late model series in Canada, so I suppose it's only logical that one of the best pilots in late models in Ontario should find his way into CASCAR. Brantford's Alex Nagy has been churning the ovals for some 12 years now. He started with street stocks at Flamborough Speedway near Hamilton, where he was a consistent top 5 finisher in points. In 1989, Alex hooked up with master car builder Sam Rounce and, like, say, Robert Yates and Davey Allison, for example. This turned out to be a pretty potent combination as well.
Once me and Sam combined our experience and our hard work, we ended up going real good. We had a lot of success from '89, and hopefully it'll continue this year.
Yeah, we get along great. He's a good kid to get along with. He's a good driver. He can work on the car. We can communicate back and forth as to what's wrong with the car, and just no problem at all between us.
There's something else about Nagy's efforts that fits directly into the CASCAR pattern. He's won Best Appearing Car Award several times, and his crew, Best Prepared. And then the ultimate acknowledgement. Last year, Performance Racing News named Alex Nagy in a reader's poll the up-and-coming stock car driver in Canada.
It's real special. Anytime you're voted by the fans, especially in a national publication like that, it's a great honor. And as you know, without the race fans, we're not going to have any great sponsors like we have, and you know, they're the most important thing.
So whether Alex is behind the wheel of a late model, or strapped into his big rig racing truck, or his new CASCAR mount, Nagy is always plenty quick through experience and top-notch car preparation. So it's a pretty simple statement when you think that Alex Nagy is one of the easy money favorites for 1993 CASCAR Budweiser Super Series Rookie of the Year. Alex Nagy in the STP Personality Profile.
And Alex Nagy having a great year at his home track of Delaware Speedway. Very much in line for Rookie of the Year honors there, but running one lap off the pace here on the inside line for this restart.
Bob Merrifield, car number 43. 6-cylinder power will lead the field down on the restart. They come down to the Budweiser stripe, and we're back underway in the Bud 200.
Bob Merrifield, Duke Sawchuk running in second. Steve Robblee now running in third. And also up in contention, we see for the first time this afternoon the 49 of James Maurice and the 02 of Kerry Mick. So they've been biding their time and doing it well.
James Maurice's #1 goal this year is to finish inside the top 5 in points. He finished in 5th place in Super Series points last year. He is waiting for a new engine in this automobile.
Well, speaking of engines, Jimmy Patrick, the word out of the pit area right now, he did puncture the oil pan after that spin down on the apron of the racetrack, and he is out of contention. One of the top Fords gone by the wayside today.
We figured there was something slippery on those rear wheels, causing him to go around twice. Now Steve Robblee. Have we not seen this before, folks? Steve Robblee, car number 32, the London area male athlete of the year last year. 20 feature wins, cooks himself up into 2nd place in the challenge on the 43 of Bob Merrifield.
Well, they're certainly not the fastest car out there, but definitely one of the smoother drivers. It does appear, however, that the oil guard trimline Buick Regal is a little bit tipsy in the corners here this afternoon, Eric.
Yeah.
Not as much horsepower, not great handling, but a super driver.
Yeah, a little bit top heavy there. It's sort of twisting a little bit too much in the way that he likes it, and he has run here very, very quick in the past. But Steve Robblee, not the quick car as you say, but he's really going to put the heat on the 43 of Bob Merrifield, and Duke Sawchuk in the 74 is hanging right up there with these two.
Second time this afternoon that Merrifield has led this race. He led from lap 19 through 36, and now in jeopardy of losing it here to defending Budweiser Super Series national champion Steve Robblee.
Oh, there he goes. He got the exact position he wanted in the corner. He forced Merrifield to the outside, just tucked that little Buick underneath, and he was by him in a hurry.
And pulled Sawchuk through with him. Al Turner running in 4th, and he's alongside a lap car right now, so he's having some problems. And Sawchuk trying to get by Merrifield, also having problems.
Is that marbling again that we talked about on the Sony wall cam here? Everybody's sort of staying down away from that wall. Early in the race, they can get up high, but when the marbling starts to cascade down on these Cayuga turns, it narrows up the groove quite a lot.
Duke Sawchuk running in third. Had a chance to talk to him before the race, and you know, he won here a year ago. I should say won the pole a year ago, but did not win the race. You'd figure they'd go right back to that book again and get the same setup for this race. Not this time around. They've changed a lot of things, and it appears to be working well for them. Fastest time here again today and running in third right now.
Some fans asked me, to say, why did Robblee leave the Lumina livery and go to the Buick? Well, he says it was time for a change, but in reality, still working within the minimum weight limits of CASCAR. There's about 10 inches less bars in that car, and there's that Merrifield looseness coming up again. But Robblee's working with a little bit of a lighter car, somewhat shorter car, too.
Yeah, I guess there's probably 10, maybe 15, 20 pounds difference on the front end of that car. And, of course, at the velocity they're turning here, that makes a big difference when you add all that centrifugal force up. They're averaging over 101 miles an hour, hitting about 120 here on the straightaways.
And we've got a spin carry mix out of Mount Elbert. That's up near Newmarket. In the NTN Bearings Oldsmobile loops it around. We're going to have to bring out the yellow again.
Third caution flag of the afternoon and the Bud 200 here at Cayuga. This is, incidentally, the second stop on the 15-race national tour.
Right rear tire has gone down on the mix mount. He is a teammate this year of Mark Dilley. And with NTN behind him, he is back up as one of the contenders. He was a little off the pace with that last year without a major sponsor.
Interesting to see if any of the other contenders come down now, maybe to take on some a tire or some fuel. Drivers, incidentally, for this race allowed only one tire change. Here comes Steve Robblee in. Jack Monahan coming in as well. Al Turner coming in as we get a look now at the Snap-on Tools leaderboard.
Merrifield, Sawchuk, Maurice, Jacques, and Sean Dupuis, who was near the front when we started this whole thing, is up in the top 5 again.
Super run for Sean Dupuis, second-year CASCAR driver. And contender Jack Monahan coming in as well. Here's Mike.
Jack Monahan's crew taking advantage of this caution flag, getting him in here for a quick splash and go. Check the tire condition, too.
Interesting to note, still out on the speedway, Duke Sawchuk gambling. They are not coming in, maybe hopefully getting in a little bit later in this race.
You go all the way. Maybe that's what he's thinking.
Mark Patrick pulling out along with Bobby Hume and Steve Robblee. Let's go to the Robblee pit. Here's Mike Goodwin.
John, you were having a little discussion in the pits here. What happened?
Well, just as I stepped up on the wall for the pit stop, we looked down and a spring had fallen out of the socket. That meant I'd have to shake the nuts out. I didn't have time to change the gun, so we just went with it. Had to take my time, be sure they fell out before I went on to the next nut. Everything worked out all right. They took their time. We were patient. It came out all right.
Well, it's not the first time the team has had a bit of a miscue in the pits. Didn't seem to slow him down in the change at all.
Well, it was about this stage of the race a year ago when Robblee was leading as we returned to green flag racing, when he had his motor let go. One of the very few DNFs. Did not finish for Robblee's career. And that was a big disappointment. Of course, Tom Malott went on to win that race. Duke Sawchuk finished in second. And now Sawchuk runs second here this afternoon behind the race leader, number 43, Bob Merrifield.
And Ron St. Clair, we were mentioning about that possible gamble that some of the drivers could take. Can they go the 200 laps here without stopping? Keep in mind that Duke Sawchuk, car number 74, charging for the front here, has not made that stop. We'll keep our eyes on him very closely.
And the V6 of Bob Merrifield would not have to take on fuel either. Neither would the V6 of Dan Delisle, the number 6 car. He is on the lead lap now as he tries to get that lap back. He was the Gates rookie fastest qualifier this afternoon.
5/8 of a mile track. If you're a lap down, just sort of wait for the weather to change. You might get your lap back. You never know. And Dan Delisle doing a good job to hang in there.
Brad Jacques in the Walker Dynamax Chevrolet making his move back to the front again after that second caution flag. And he went in and pitted, you'll recall. Jack Monahan still in contention. Paul Mather's still out there in contention. But it's Bob Merrifield leading the race. Now Duke Sawchuk comes up and almost made it a three-way battle down the back straightaway.
Sean McGlynn in car number 8 out of Kitchener almost got sideways there. That would have been a Pier 6 calamity, but he was able to pull it through. Now here Duke Sawchuk makes his move, and he challenges up front here with Bob Merrifield.
Nice move. 3 abreast down the back straightaway. Dan Delisle heads down pit road. There's Sean McGlynn having problems, but a new race leader in car number 74. 3 of them up there battling it out right now. This is for positions here after the caution flag.
Jack Monahan, car 03, always quick wherever he goes. Now look up front here. Duke Sawchuk has not stopped for anything. The car made a bit of a bobble there. We're going to have to keep our eyes on him, boy. He is really running on thin ice out here.
James Maurice in car number 49 out of Windsor, running a strong race in third right now. He finished very, very strongly in this race a year ago.
Duke Sawchuk in the Key Tours Labatt's Genuine Draft Pontiac. Up front, slight little bit of damage on the nose of the number 74, but he's running nice and clean. He got into trouble there just a little bit, but he's straightened it out now.
Well, we'll get a watch on him as he heads by the Budweiser stripe next time around. I suspect he's in the low 22-second range. We have yet to see anyone down under that under race conditions. Jimmy Patrick had a very, very fast time, just about cracking the 21-second barrier earlier in this race, but of course he is now gone.
James Maurice, fellow Windsor driver. Duke Sawchuk from the border city, and the 49 of James Maurice up in the top three here.
22.304 for Duke Sawchuk.
Not bad, not bad at all, with this track getting greasy and slippery as we make our way down towards the three-quarter pole of this event.
Battle here for second place. James Maurice, the black molly gold Buick Regal on the inside, and he'll take the spot away from Merrifield and might be able to pull Brad Jakes through with him.
Might be able to do that if the hole is big enough, but that Brad Jakes car has really been a mystery out here, but a good one for Brad Jakes. The handling hasn't really changed from lap one to where we are right now.
Merrifield's handling seems to be going away just a little bit here, Eric, as he obviously losing a little bit of ground in that outside groove. And Jakes, as he mentioned on radio earlier, able to make it stick wherever he wants to take it, and he takes it into third.
The Maurice people were telling me that the engine is a little bit down on power. They had an overheating problem at Delaware Speedway. The overheating isn't the problem here. The engine is still unchanged as far as power. He's able to stay up near the leaders.
All the years I've been around racing, I've never been able to figure out those drivers. They all tell you they're down on power, and then they take the checkered flag.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Steve Robblee working his way back to the front. Some
damage here.
Damage on the right side. Jack Monahan in behind him as they head by the stripe. And then Al Turner, the next car in line, in number 16. The 08 Sean McGlynn is a lap car.
Right front quarter panel, the fender actually of Steve Robblee's number 32 peeled back. No doubt the starting officials are going to keep their eyes on that situation. You wouldn't want that thing coming off there. But so far it seems to be hanging in okay, kind of like a little outrigger sticking out there.
This is a battle for one of the top 5 positions this afternoon. Robblee and Monahan, as they so often do, duke it out. And speaking of Duke, there he is up front, still leading the way.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad, Ron.
Thank you.
But a great job by Duke Sawchuk. Still has not stopped, man. He's just kind of wondering.
You know, it was a year ago that Duke Sawchuk parked his vehicle in Hamilton, came out the following morning, found all their tools had been stripped from the truck. That day, they went on to top 3 finish. It helped pay some of the bills. $40,000 in purse here today in cash and prizes. And if they hang on in there, they're going to take home their share of the money here today and maybe recover a few more of those tools.
Coming right by the Sony Handycam mounted on the wall. And again, you can see those drivers sticking with that middle groove. Nobody wants to get up in that loose stuff near the wall.
Brad Jakes right up there now to challenge for second place as he pulls up alongside James Maurice and will take the spot away. And Jakes, 3 abreast up into turn number 3, grabs the second spot.
Oh, that is risky business on a track that is decidedly pretty slippery out here. And Brad Jakes crosses the stripe, getting down closer to the bottom here.
There's Rob Neely of the 97 Mac Tools Chevrolet.
Come by the stripe next time, Ron. Just 3 laps to go. Duke Sawchuk still your leader.
Brad Jakes running second. James Maurice in the 49 running back in third position.
There's the 97 of Rob Neely out of Mississauga, Ontario. Here's a young man who was one of the definite front runners in the series who has been struggling this year for sure.
Well, they're off to a little bit better start this year than last. They wrecked their car big time in the opening race of 1992. Bob Merrifield out of contention with a green flag pit stop.
This is going to put him down for sure, but that right front sneaker has gone flat. Now the crew scurries to get him back out there. But when you pit under green here with only 5/8 of a mile at Cayuga Speedway, Ron, it doesn't take very long for you to get down a lap.
Turning laps just over 22 seconds, and you can rest assured he is going to go at least 1 lap down as Duke Sawchuk powers off at turn number 4 down to the stripe to put Merrifield that lap down.
Duke Sawchuk is one of those guys with the white flag coming out here from down Damaris. And Duke Sawchuk in car number 74. What about that gamble?
Looks like it's paying off. I'm sure there isn't much more than a sniff of fuel in that tank right now as he negotiates turn 3 for the final time.
Duke Sawchuk going to bring it on home here in car number 74 to Windsor. In the Bud 200, crew looking on from the wall. And the checkered flag from Don Demerits. And Duke Sawchuk wins the Bud 200 at Cayuga.
And 3.72 seconds behind them, Brad Jacques had Mount Bridges in the Walker Dynamax Chevrolet, finishing third. James Maurice in the Molly Black Gold Buick Regal.
I think these guys are a little bit thrilled.
I think they're happy.
I think you're right.
There he is, Sir Duke, and the Snap-on Tools leaderboard reveals the top 5. Steve Robblee 4th and Sean Dupuis 5th overall.
Have a look at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Monahan, Mathers, Mix, Nagy Jr., and John Gaunt up in the top 10. Good run for him in a car that wasn't handling very well. We're back to talk with the winner, Duke Sawchuk from the Bud 200 at Cayuga Speedway, and we'll do that in a moment.
All right, get in here with Duke Sawchuk. Duke, this is something you don't often see in CASCAR racing. Qualifier number 1, win the race too.
Well, I was kind of disappointed when they had that we were going to have to start 10 cars back, and I thought, well, sitting on the pole would have been beautiful for here today. But I just kept picking my way through, and everything worked out to the best. You know, like, I don't know what to say. Everything we did worked out perfect.
Great race, Duke.
Thank you.
Time to select a Ford performer of the race. I don't know if the Duke's a gambling man, but he hit the jackpot here today.
Well, he went the distance on a tank of fuel, set fast time, won the race, and did it in record time, 87.26 miles per hour. Duke Sawchuk, the Ford performer of the race.
Over here with the number 2 finisher, Brad Jacques. Brad, a little bit of a swap in the end there. What happened?
Just took advantage of a lap car and got around Jim Maurice in number 3. Took advantage. You got to do it.
It was a terrific run for you today. The car was running real well. It looked like you were pulling up pretty well.
Yeah, we had this thing dialed in. We were counting on Duke fueling. It just didn't happen. He took advantage of that as well.
Still a good run. Way to go.
Great day at Cayuga, Ron. Here's a look at some of the final stats.
Well, 8 lead changes among 4 drivers. We had 3 caution flags for 20 laps. 25 cars still running, 6 of them on the lead lap. 3.72 seconds, the margin of victory, and the average speed, as mentioned earlier, just over 87 miles per hour.
Back down to Mike Goodwin.
Well, we're here with the 3rd place finisher, Jim Maurice. Great race, Jim.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'd like to thank all the guys in the crew, and especially Molly Black Gold. The guys did an excellent job setting the car up today. We're a little down on horsepower. We just knew we'd go the distance, we'd be up front.
You had a little bit of a lead change there at the end. Was the car getting a little squirrely on you? What was happening?
Well, we went the distance on tires, and it started to get a little bit loose. It's hard to get on the throttle off the corners. I didn't think the 74 car was going to make it. He did it without a pit stop, and the pass with Brad Jacques at that point would have been for the win. Duke finished. What can we say? He made it on fuel.
Still a great run. Way to go. Thanks a lot.
Well, Ron St. Clair, we talked in the opening about possible dark horses. We talked about Robblee, we talked about Ken Schrader, but nobody talked about Duke Sawchuk, and look who winds up winning.
And we didn't talk about Brad Jacques, and we didn't talk about Bob Merrifield, and we didn't talk about James Maurice. I think Bob Merrifield had a shot at this with the V6, but he had a tire go down late in the race, a disappointment for him. The Fords were nowhere to be found at the end of this race, which was really a surprise to me. And Steve Robblee was there, but not quite quick enough to be in the top 3. But the Duker did it, and I'll tell you what, he's short in stature, but tall here today in the winner's circle.
He almost ran out of fuel, but he was able to bring it home with a checkered flag and take the Bud 200 here at Cayuga Speedway. That's going to wrap it up from here. On behalf of Ron St. Clair and Mike Goodwin, I'm Eric Thomas. So long from the CASCAR Budweiser Super Series.
This program has been brought to you in part by Budweiser Racing. It's a Bud race. Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment. Quality is job one. It's working. STP and Prestone. Midas. Trust your car to Midas. And Snap-on Tools, the official tool of CASCAR.
Today, Ricky Henderson and the Jays strut their stuff on TSN. Baseball's greatest base thief leads the way against the Milwaukee Brewers. Catch the action live from Skydome at 1:30 Eastern on Real TV, TSN.